I hope you're having a great day and I hope you're staying safe at home. Well, today I want to talk about something which is very, very limiting for most human beings, and all of us do it, including myself, everyone. At some point in our life, we've done it, or we still continue to do it. And it can be limiting when it comes to our growth, our personal growth, when it comes to our health, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to emotions like love and happiness and all of these things. What I'm talking about is something that we do all the time to ourselves, and that is attaching labels. We label ourselves. We attach these little tags that describe us. So what happens is when you you make a definition of yourself in your mind based on the label that you have put for yourself. So am I fat? Am I ugly? Am I good for nothing? Am I, an angry person all the time? Am I a failure in life? These are little labels that grow into our subconscious mind and soon become our reality. Okay, there's a billionaire who has about, 14,000 crores. Okay, and there's another gentleman who may have about 25 to 30 crores in his bank account. You speak to both of them. Both of them are happy. Both of them believe they've succeeded. Both of them believe they have success in their life, okay? Because both of their definitions of success are completely different. But if we put ourselves into a box like, I need $1 billion to be called successful, or I need 3 luxury cars parked in my garage, or a second holiday home, and only then can I call myself successful. These are little labels that limit us in our thinking, in our growth, in moving forward in life. So today you hear words like alpha male, hot woman, sexy woman, fat person, thin person, ugly person, alpha male, super mom, super dad. We label ourselves healthy, unhealthy, rich, poor. All these labels get into our subconscious mind, and guess what? It dictates the way we feel, the way we behave, and the way we experience life. And that is why it is so important for us to stop using labels. Probably the only label you should have is your name, so people can identify you. These are difficult things to do, but when you really break it down and you sit back and break down the labels that either society has put on you, you've put on yourself with self-judgment, or your family's put it on you. You have to sometimes go back and break down these labels if you don't want to be that particular person, and if you want to really open up your potential in life. Let me give you an example of certain emotions. Everyone knows that love is the most powerful drug in the world. Everyone in some way or the other is searching for love, appreciation, attention, acknowledgement. These are the basic wants of a human being. Yet there are so many definitions. Today, love may be beautiful for you. 5 years down the line, love may be the worst thing that ever happened to you. Okay? You could put 10 people in a room and they'll have 10 different definitions of love, 10 different definitions of happiness, 10 different definitions of disease, and all of that stuff. But what label do you conform to? What label does your life conform to? Like half the people working out there, they say we want to be successful in life. Most of them have very, very flawed definitions of success. Their definition of success is someone else's definition of success that they've seen on social media, or some billionaire flaunting, fancy yachts and cars and all of that stuff. That's not a problem. If that is your definition of success, fine, work towards it. But most people are so confused because they've allowed society to define the definition of different labels which you are now conformed to. And we need to understand that. Most emotions in life are energies. Okay, today love could be a positive energy in your life. Tomorrow it could be a very negative energy because it's become toxic. Okay, happiness for some people, again, is an energy. Sadness is an energy. The difference is your perception. The difference is how you feel. So choosing labels can actually, I deal with so many kids, who have been called stupid by their parents or stupid by their teachers. They think that they'll be useless in life if they don't study. And today they're well-educated adults. They have some amount of success in their life, but they still think from the space of that definition. They still don't believe they're good enough. They need to seek so much of validation to know that they are successful, because they're being driven by that one label that was put into their subconscious mind years and years ago. So imagine a young girl growing up today and, maybe she's having a bad hair day, but all her friends make fun of her and say, you're ugly. Okay, she's just had a bad hair day. But that statement goes into her subconscious mind. and she grows up believing she's ugly, doing everything she needs to try to be pretty because of one label that got stuck in her mind. And that's just one example of it. So over labels, even with ourselves, sometimes we label other people. We'll say, oh, that black person or that Asian person or that South Indian person or that North Indian person. We label other people or we label ourselves. But you have to understand, the moment you label someone or yourself, you've started to form a perception in your mind, and your behaviors will be dictated by that perception and thought in your mind. It's as simple as that. Your thoughts result in a feeling. Your feelings result in a behavior, and your behavior results in your experience of life. So now where is that thought coming from? The good or the bad, the positive or the negative? That is completely up to you. So sometimes we got to revisit the labels that we have put for ourselves. I'm not successful. I'll only be successful when I have $3 million in my account. No, you're already successful. You're already on that path, but you're limiting so much of happiness. You're limiting so much of potential because your definition of your label is completely inaccurate. I'll only be happy when my cancer gets out of my body or I go into remission. No, you can still be happy right now. And your cancer, if it's meant to go and you're doing the right things, it'll still leave your body. You don't have to put a condition to human emotion. You don't have to put a condition that if my girlfriend breaks up with me, I'll go into depression. That's what the movies show us. That's what stupid TV serials portray to us. So that goes into our mind that, oh, if there's a breakup, I'll go into depression. And that's what's happening with half the world. They don't really have to go into depression, but that thought which is in their mind leads them into depression, because the mind follows a pattern which you've built and strengthened by watching all of the crap that exists in entertainment. So my whole point is, watch all the entertainment, but if you don't have a strong mind or a mind of your own, your labels and your self-beliefs are going to be defined by society, entertainment, the virtual world, and everything out there. Everything out there. Okay, so what we want to really move into is positive words. Instead of saying, I'm a successful person, I want to say, I've achieved a lot in life. I'm happy. I'm hardworking, I'm persevering, I'm strong, I'm healthy, I'm inspiring, rather than I'm a good for nothing person. That's what you think. That's because you've labeled yourself, and what you keep thinking about becomes your mind pattern in your subconscious mind. Everything you do will come from that space. We need to understand that when you label yourself, you live up to that label. You start to live up to the label that you've created for yourself or someone slapped onto you. That can lead into restricted thinking, emotions, depression, anxiety, everyone. Because you become a prisoner within your own belief system. You become a prisoner within your own labels. And you have to really work hard at breaking that down, because beyond that label is a whole different world that you cannot see, because you are blinded with the label that has now become your reality, the way that you live. So words like ugly, stupid, good for nothing, unworthy, hopeless, selfish, these are destroying words. You shouldn't use it on other people as far as possible. A lot of people make us angry, and sometimes we get angry and we use these words, but try to correct it after that. Don't use it on other people, and all the more, don't use it on yourself. Okay, you may have done something selfish today. That doesn't make you a selfish person. You continue to do it and it becomes your habit. Yes, you are a selfish person. Okay, you made a mistake. Everyone has made mistakes, and guess what? You will continue to make mistakes in your lifetime. If you're trying to act like this good person, like you've never made mistakes and you'll never make mistakes, you're living a lie. And living a lie is more exhausting than accepting the fact that we all make mistakes. Our past does not define who we are today. Please understand that. You may have had a really, really bad past. You may have done things, you may have said things, you may have done a lot of bad stuff, but it doesn't define your present. Unless you're living and you've made your past your present. Other than that, it doesn't. So you don't have to label yourself because 10 years ago you did something wrong, so that label stays with you even today. If that label stays with you, then guess what? It's defining your thoughts, your feelings, your behavior, and your experience. It's as simple as that. So your labels can either become a motivator for you, or it can become a detractor for you. So I can say, I'm efficient at what I do. That's a motivator. Okay, or I can become a detractor and say, I failed in life, I don't think I was efficient, and I don't think I'm good enough for this. Okay, so your labels can make you it could be a motivator or a detractor. Very, very important for you. Now these labels come from society, like I said, from family, from yourself, self-judgment, but you have to change that. You have to change that. How do you change that? How do you change these labels? Number one, ask yourself, do I want to be that person? If you label yourself as unworthy, do you want to be that person? The answer is absolutely not. So you got to change that. Just because someone else labeled you that doesn't mean you have to be that person. For that, we have to have self-belief. If you don't have self-belief and self-worth, you allow yourself to be defined and labeled by your partner, by your children, by your parents, by society, and those labels will come from people's opinions. They don't have to be who you really are. But when you believe in yourself and you know, okay, without overconfidence, that, hey, I am this person. Just because I made a mistake, of course, people perceive me different because I had this name of being this bad person or this bad person in my relationship or whatever it is, okay, doesn't mean it's you. You were that person with that behavior at a particular point in your life, but it does not define who you are today. So your label does not define who you are. It does not define who you are. You have to define who you are by recreating and breaking down these labels. Number three, get out of your box. Everyone's put themselves into a box. That success means this, love means this, sex means this, relationship means this. Everyone's in a box. Get out of a box. In a box, it's something called blind conformity. You conform blindly to the definitions of that box. So you even stop thinking on your own. You stop questioning. You know, why does this box have to be this way? But you put yourself into a box because you think it's a safe place. So you see, like teenagers, okay, every teenager goes through this. It's called conformity. They try to conform to something which is cool because they want to fit in. All of us have done it at some point. I've done it too. It's called conformity. But we got to be so careful that our conformity doesn't define who we are going to be in life. Very, very important. So get out of your box. We put ourselves into a box with disease. Oh, I got cancer. Oh, the box says cancer equals death. Cancer equals suffering. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. There are so many people who survive their cancers, who go through the treatments without a single side effect. But because you've put yourself into a box, you start living that. Your knowledge and experience and everything that you know is conformed to the box, what the box teaches you. But believe me, there's a lot beyond the box. For that, you got to get out of the box. You got to get out of these labels. Look at these extreme groups that we have, vegans and carnivores and all of that stuff. I have no issues with them. But a lot of them don't even know why they're doing it. They're just saying, oh, it sounds good. We don't kill animals. No animal cruelty. Let's become a vegan. They don't know. Most of them are not even happy. They appear to be vegan to the world, but quietly they're ordering steaks and eating a lot of other stuff. These people exist. I don't have an issue with vegans, carnivores, anything. My point is, if you're doing it, if you're putting yourself in a box, do it with understanding. Do it with intention so that your life has some amount of meaning and you don't end up feeling empty. Get out of your box. Remember, we all make mistakes. And remember, what you label yourself is exactly how you will drive your life. So if you label yourself with limiting labels, your life will be driven in that direction. Which means when your life is driven in a particular direction or in a particular way, your results and your experience of life will conform to the way it is being driven. So my point is, revisit all the labels that you made for yourself. Never, never label your children as good or bad. Be objective about it. You've done something that's good. You've done something that's bad. That doesn't make you or change you as a person. Okay, I always tell a lot of people, not to take away from people's depression. A lot of people like to hang on to that feeling of being depressed. But the truth is, most people are not depressed. They've just had a very depressing experience in their life. And yes, they are going through all the symptoms of depression. But the moment you label yourself as, let's say you go through a breakup today, and tomorrow you go through sadness and hurt and whatever the feelings are, but you label yourself as depressed, immediately you are going to start behaving. You are going to start acting out the role of a depressed patient. I'm not taking away from people's depression. The same thing with every other emotion. The moment you label yourself as super, whatever it is, overconfident or whatever it is that you do, you start behaving that way. So be careful. You may be genuinely depressed. Go take your treatment, see a psychologist, take all your meds. But you have to first start by relabeling yourself. The very fact that you're going to a psychologist or a psychiatrist makes you already feel that you're a mental patient or you're a depressed patient. You may be. I'm not taking away from that. But always remember that you had a depressing experience in your life in most cases. And that is what resulted to you being labeled or you self-labeling yourself as depressed. Some patients of depression don't have these experiences. They just have an imbalance of chemical neurotransmitters. They need their medication. So my point is, the more you label yourself, you start living the role of that label. Whether it's a victim mode, whether it's a role of success. So you got to define. You have to define the labels that you have. For that, you got to sit down and reflect. Today, reflect. What do you call yourself when you make a mistake? Do you call yourself a failure? What do you call yourself when you look in the mirror? Have you labeled yourself as fat, ugly, dark-skinned, all of that stuff? You got to work with these labels, because that's exactly what the outcome of your life is going to be. What you're going to be. Like a lot of people say, oh, students are stupid in school, they'll never make anything in their life. These same stupid students today are millionaires and billionaires with successful companies. The label, because they chose not to be defined by that label. If they chose to be defined by that label, they would be failures like their teachers or their parents told them they would be. You define your label. If you don't define your label, someone else is going to do that for you. For that, you need self-worth. Build your self-worth. To build your self-worth, you got to believe in yourself. You need to know that there is some goodness in you. Can't see it? Find it. Maybe you're too distracted and blinded, living in your own little prison. For that, you got to look out of that box. Get out of the box, and you will improve your life. Too many people have labeled themselves when it comes to disease, careers, relationships. You may have gone through the worst 3 or 4 years of your relationship. It doesn't mean it has to define the next 10 years of your relationships. People change. People make differences. They make action changes, and their relationships improve. But the ones who believe that it's already fucked up, it's already not going to work, that's your label. It's not going to work anymore. People change. You change. Everyone does. Do not let your past define your present moment. It can be completely different. And don't let your labels of your past define who you are right now and define your future. Have a great day, everyone. Until next time, eat smart, move more, sleep right, and breathe deep.